Hello, this is an Artanis guide by Espresso. We're watching Plane, which is my NA account. Uh, let's speed through the selection process. And I think this is a good game to show how to play Artanis because it has both a lot of things that I think I did well, and a lot of things I could have definitely done better. I will show you where the mistakes were, and I'll show you where I think I could do better, and also what I think I did well, and you can emulate. So the first thing I do is I have 2 golden Xi, and I make 2 adepts. That's my opener. I like farming from the start with this. Against some better players, you can get a cybernetics core and get a stalker before salvaging the cybernetics core. Opening's not the most interesting thing. I'm just trying to get a little bit of gas. Some very bad micro going on here. I try to save both adepts. Somehow, I think it ends up working. So here I salvage both of my Nexus so I can get some eco. So here's probably going to be my first mistake. I start making more adepts, but I could have just made 2 assimilators and I would be in a better spot before I made the adepts. The reason why I made the adepts was because I just didn't feel like microing as much as before, and 4 adepts can one-shot a Ling, and then I could just run in a circle next to my adepts and farm quite a lot of gas. But of course, getting an assimilator slightly faster would have been ideal. There's a little bit of micro going on, trying to protect those adepts. I see that this I had to salvage because a random Ling went in, so I move it somewhere else, try to get some eco somewhere else, and here's just a very slow attempt to build more eco. Now I just farm at this spot because it's kind of a funnel. To get into bottom right, bottom mid right, all of the Lings are basically going to go through there. Four Seasons has quite a lot of them. Let me point out a few more. So this is a funnel, like it's mostly going to go through here. This is going to be a funnel too. So you can sit, like Prohibitor, you can sit in some of these locations and you'll get quite a decent amount of Ling traffic.
Glory to the Daylom.
So here I'm just getting eco. Early mid game is kind of not the most interesting thing, but
glory to the Daylom.
More eco. I'm running away from my adepts, hoping that they can be kept alive, because typically Zerg's gonna try to chase you down for some reason. Although they have basically no chance of killing a Artanis that's paying attention this early. So I attempted to get a little bit of levels going on there. There was just too many things, so I just ran. You could see there I started getting a little bit worried, so I queued up an upgrade from my forge that I built a little bit early. Whenever you're anticipating you're going to get chased, build a forge immediately, and it's always worth it to, be a little bit safe.
Born shall persevere.
Stand with me.
Okay, so one thing you should see there is I'm sending some.
Glory to the Daylom.
Oops, we're sending some of these mothership cores up here, and the reason is because you can get a lot of map control by putting down pylons with Artanis. Also notice that my adepts were dying, so I moved them back and spawned a few more just so it could possibly live. This eco actually lives quite long this game. Got a little bit lucky. And while these mothership cores are moving upwards, I'm making pylons. These are kind of like most likely gonna die, honestly, to Ling pathing. but you can see what I try to do here. I make a bunch of, as long as one of the pylons survive, I can make a bunch of adepts, and now I can haphazardly put these gates. And the reason why I put them haphazardly is because now I can spawn adepts in the middle of it, and all of the lings that are going by are going to attack the adepts first, not anything else. This is a relatively well defended spot. If I need any more, I can reinforce it by just warping them in. So here's some eco, here's eco. So I have 2 locations now. I'm doing the same over here on this side with my own unit instead of using mothership cores. And I'm starting on making these Nexi. Nexi are going to be your best friends. Make sure you have at least 2 on the map at any point. And if you can, you want to contest them. At some point, Artanis starts to get so much money that you just want to drop them wherever. I forget to do it because I don't have the awareness sometimes. Because this class does require a lot of APM, and that tends to tax the rest of my brain, so I don't use it. So, more eco. Nothing too interesting happens here. I'm gonna speed it back up. Oh, actually, something does happen here. I'm running this way because Peanut Shell locked me in. I couldn't run through. I would have actually met the Haka there, which is kind of funny. And I'm starting to make some motherships and... No, sorry. I make a warp prism because I saw the Haka there. And if I get in a weird situation, I want it to be on the other side of a high ground where I can do it. I noticed that this is getting attacked, so I warp in more units. Now you can see the power of the funnel in action. All of these lings are attacking one adept over there. I spawned in more units, and as you can see, it really screwed up with the attack priority, and more adepts came out, and we have it defended. If we look back a little bit, I actually used up all of my warps before I
shall persevere.
How like... Oh, so I am watching this. Interesting. But before that, I made sure to watch my own character. After I warped in, there was actually a period where I stopped watching this altogether, and I wanted to make sure Artanis was safe. But because I'm on Ob's view, you know, I kept the view over here, and you can see I reinforced it. I made one of the mothership core into a mothership. And this way, they're going to have to use a scan every time they attack it, and even if they scan it, I'm just going to reinforce it. I don't give a shit, right? Like, so, flying more planes, elsewhere, putting pylons. This is such an easy way of getting map control. It takes 2 brain cells, but, you know, it's so easy. More people should do this. I stole this idea from Darkstar. So no credit for me on that one, but and here I'm just screwing over my teammates because they all built their stealth ecos on bottom left, and there was nowhere I can run without running through like 3 of them. Can't really help it. They kind of just went in here. Not my fault. See? Same thing in action. They attacked this stuff. They noticed the mothership, so they pulled their lings away, but there was no way they're getting through. And if they actually tried to brute force it, I would just spend more units there. Doesn't matter. So I'm at the point where I have a bunch of minerals, no gas. So here's the part where you make a bunch of gates. Anytime now, or a bunch of units.
Glory to the Daylom.
Our pylon is under attack.
Glorious combat is upon us.
So here I'm just trying to clear the creep, just so maybe I could keep this eco. Niagara runs there, so I just give up on that.
Stand with me.
So one thing is that people try to make a bunch of these assimilators because they're efficient, but in truth, when you salvage, you should just upgrade a bunch of them or upgrade mothership cores into motherships. The reason being is taking the time to make your eco will typically waste more money than making the more efficient eco. Because the reason for that is just because it takes time to make the darn thing. Opportunity cost, you would have paid back the item already, right? So now I'm making more gates. So this is something that's really fun to do. You just make a bunch of gates as outposts, right? So same principle, except there's no eco behind it. If you're gonna if you're forced to make warp gates anyway, you can kind of put them to use here. Make sure to make a Nexi, you know, it's good for warp-ins later. This Nexi in particular is gonna be useful later on.
Glorious combat is upon us.
So as you can see, I'm still flying planes around, but now I'm escorting it with stalkers, so therefore it will be protected somewhat, for the at least long enough for the pylon to warp in. Making the same thing over here. I think I'm producing more more units from that Nexi. And the reason I fly this over is so I can recall it to one of these gates. Yeah, this Nexus. I just wanted to put a stealth eco here. And sometimes if you don't want to pay for the stealth, you just move an existing mothership and you just recall it back in. Sometimes that does bite you when whatever, like what's it called? When it's on cooldown. 1 second, let me pause. Okay, just had to turn off my nightlight. So I think things are happening here. Don't really care. You can see quite a lot of the map is green, but I do notice the bottom left and bottom right are a little bit sparse. I'm gonna try to make some more mothership cores, move them down. I'm moving it here because it's a defensible location. I think I moved some mothership cores down from bottom top left downwards, and the idea for this is I want to have map control all over the place in order to oh, sorry. So this, if you see the warp-ins there, these warp-ins were tanking for my assimilators, even though essentially they don't survive very long. But I'd rather lose some Hydra shots to adepts rather than lose them to anything actually useful, like my eco. Luckily for me, some of these gates actually stay alive, and I'm able to warp in some stuff from there. The reason I'm spamming mothership cores here. The reason for that is I am too lazy to build that assimilator eco again, so I just straight up morph these into motherships. They pay themselves. I think after 50 seconds, you basically pay off the efficiency. So if it's gonna take you more than 50 seconds to build something, just make whatever is easier to build, right? I don't have the time or the APM or even the brain cells to, you know, build it a different way. Now I see that I'm floating, I have a bunch of minerals. I actually don't think I even have 2-2 at this point. It was a mistake. Yeah, they're all 1-1. What I should have done was build a forge and just, you know, get 2-2, but I kind of forgot. But again, more gates. Now, I'm tracking where Dahaka is. I think he's going, because he's here, I think this location is going to start to be bad. I would have made more assimilators here if it was otherwise. But now I'm watching where Dahaka is, while I believe I am going to walk downwards towards bot left, and I'm eyeing towards making eco here because he's going to clear out all of my eco here, right? So I'm also thinking about trying to get more Nexi all over the place, in case because these are going to need to be recalled here soon too. This all sounds maybe it might sound like a lot's going on, but after playing enough games, it's all good. It's really just I have money. How am I gonna spend it? What part of the map is not lit up, and how can I light it up again? So I'm gonna try to reinforce this location again, because again, I have too much minerals, no gas. Oh, finally got 2-2. You can see the minerals go down there. And if you notice my supply, I tend to enjoy playing a playstyle where if I don't have 200 supply, I'm going to get 200 supply again. So over here, he killed the plane. I mean the mothership. I could have warped in some units and it would have probably taken up some of the damage, but I just didn't have the awareness, and I have enough eco at this point that I don't care as much. So I recalled those things to the furthest nexus from him, which is here, because I only have one here and here. So this is a mistake. I should have more nexi. Over here, I don't want to run through any of this eco, but honestly, they all sat in one spot. I can't really help it if they, you know, where am I supposed to go? Through Dahaka? So this gets scanned. So I immediately start. I know I have to make a nexus somewhere. So this is not a great place. I do it anyway. So this nexus is just here, so I can recall those before they die. So these get recalled now. Recalled. Yep. Let our enemy know our fury. I'm pushing with a bunch of units. I don't really remember why. I think this I only pushed because I was at 200 supply and I really wanted to warp in some stuff. So I just pushed to get rid of some supply. Yes, I know I said I like having 200 supply, but sometimes I do like being able to warp in stuff. I knew Dahaka was running down. I wanted to get some army here. You'll see me actually fight him soon. Yeah, I know you probably don't want to put units right on, you know, your eco location. This is one of the ecos I have. So as you can see over here, I could have reinforced this again. It would have been nice. This is Alarak's eco now. You know, whatever. Dahaka's was top left. I don't know where he's at right now, but he's gonna probably I knew that he was top left. The only logical situation, seeing that he came from top right to top left, is that he's gonna come down to bot left. So now I have eco here, which is great. I have some map control here. I have a mothership here. So my goal is to have a mothership at least in every quadrant. If I can't make that happen, I try to think about how I can make it happen. So as you can see, I have all these motherships here. I've made some stalkers. I'm gonna try to make even more gates. And the reason for that is because it's actually pretty easy to fight against the Dahaka when you have motherships. So I think you'll see some fun stuff going on here. These all, as you can see, I made a bunch of mothership cores over there. The reason for that is I'm going to, when I don't have the time for it, as in when I'm running away from Dahaka or whatnot, and I don't have time to build more eco, so I'm just gonna warp all of these into motherships. Now here I'm just making a bunch of gates. Again, some exciting fighting will happen here. So at this point, I'm kind of bored of running away, honestly. So I try to I wanted to see how much I can fight with him. So you can abuse Cloak against Dahaka. This won't work against anybody else, but as you can see, he can't attack any of my units unless he's vision, so I just kill his kills overseers when I can. I'm gonna have 2 motherships because I'm gonna morph one of these mothership cores, and whenever his scan's not there, you know, he's just taking free damage for no reason. I'm trying to get this mothership slightly out of his reach so that the vision stays up. Yeah, as you can see, you know, killing stuff. Here, actually, I think this Dahaka is pretty smart because he does something really interesting soon. I mean, like this engage is not the most smart thing he's ever done, but other than that, I knew, you know, I knew I was safe here, so I just morphed some of those cores into motherships since I thought I was safe. Okay, so here I don't know how he sees me, and I think he has a. How does he actually see me? I thought he morphed an overseer underneath these. Let our enemy know. Our forces are under attack. How did he see me? I don't know. Well, but I ran away because I was about to die. Went to the top left, and at this point I figure, you know, I have this big long path. I can defend this, and you'll see some fun fighting here. Let our enemy know our fury. So I'll tell you what I should have done here. First of all, I should build my my robotics core and whatever the thing that is that allows me to produce reavers across the map. That way, when they die, I mean when the hunter attacks me, I don't lose the ability to produce them. But underneath the mothership cores, motherships, there's actually the cybernetics core, there's the robotics facility, and the robotics bay. So I lose all of those. You can see here that, you know, stalkers versus stalkers with mothership means that infinitelings will die as long as they're underneath the mothership. As long as, but I do need to maintain a block there in order to make that effective. So at this point, spamming these gates again, trying to, because most of Zerg's units are melee, and therefore, the less space that is available, the better I have my engages, right? So I'm gonna just spam out gates.
I am here. Let our enemy know our fury. I am here in the shadow.
All right, speed it up. I'm speeding it up because nothing happens on my end. Somehow Peanut Shell dies. Zerg is attacking top right, which means I have some time to establish more. I think I get 3 armor here. Yeah, I get 3 armor. And then here I have a plan, right? So if Zerg attacks, I'm gonna throw all of my units and trap him right before this entrance. So his units can't kill this stuff because mothership, unless they send an overseer, and I'm just gonna target down the overseer. So I'm bringing my units to the back here because I figure if Dahaka runs by right now, I'll be in a bit of trouble. Dahaka can run from the bottom. Honestly, I kind of just bet against it. I also figured, I mean, I just hoped he wasn't gonna attack from that side. Honestly, it just felt like to me, since he kept sending units up here, that maybe I can trick him into running through there. Not a great bet. Truthfully, not a great bet. I had noticed I had some supply here. I'm throwing it away because whatever. And here is probably the biggest mistake of the game. Actually, not probably. Definitely the biggest mistake of the game. You see this? This is a dead Dahaka. This should be a dead Dahaka. But, yeah. So I have half my units here. I move them in. And here, he is so dead, it's not even funny. But I moved my units to the right, thinking I could spawn more units here. I was gonna warp them in from this pylon, and I forgot you can't warp in things if you have 200 supply. So that was a big mistake. So now here I can still probably salvage the situation if I had the presence of mind to create a robotics base somewhere. Maybe over here, because I could just move these motherships over and I would most likely be fine. But yeah, so I managed to do 45,000 here, I mean in total, but realistically Dahaka should have died. 100% should have died.
The firstborn shall persevere.
And all of it stemmed from moving my units too far to the right when I could have just left them. If I left them here, Dahaka was completely trapped. The only way he was out is the rock. And with the rock, you know, I could have definitely figured out some way to trap it. I mean, finish him off, right? I didn't have any risk of losing my units because, I mean, not being able to replace my units because I could just put a pylon right next to him and keep spawning in more while I move the units that were stuck here over to the right. But as you can see, there was a lot of there was a lot of areas we could have improved this. So one thing is, if I took the mothership cores from over here or on the top right, move them somewhere else, and I created a robotics bay or a robotics facility before I morphed the core into a mothership, that thing would have probably never been found in the entire game. So if I just sustained some map control, it was almost guaranteed that I could keep producing units up here. But when the Haka attacked, I had all of my my upgrade buildings and unlock buildings over here. So when he attacked this, the only thing I was able to make was adepts. And honestly, if I just had the ability to spawn a bunch of immortals over here, he was still dead. So there was two big mistakes here. Not trapping him over here, and not having production buildings somewhere else that so I could have trapped him again with some better spawns. But because I only had adepts, I didn't bother to build anything because they're just gonna die immediately. Like that adepts don't trap things. So immortals, reavers, those would have won the game for me, but I floated 4,000 over there that I couldn't use because, well, like all of my units can't be produced anymore. So those are some things that can be done with the Haka. The gate outposts are very good. Using mothership cores to establish map control is very good. Definitely have Nexi in every quadrant if you can. And when you see a portion of the map get cleaned out by the hunter, you want to start moving to a pair of mothership over so that you can create some pylons, and then some gates, and maybe later on you can put eco behind it. Move mothership in pairs of mothership cores in pairs of 2, because then you can morph one into a mothership while the other one is still able to build buildings, and always have a forge somewhere so you can get the upgrades, just because if you start getting chased down by a hunter, you can upgrade it while you're getting chased, and oftentimes all that means is hunter wasted a lot of time. You get away, and then he's kind of upset. All right, that's the guide.